Hi 7th graders, I hope you have been doing well. Today we are going to start our second unit and our first lesson in it. So we are doing 2.1, which is all about equivalent fractions. So if you want to take a second and pause the video and fill out our topic and objective and our learning targets, that would be awesome. So our topic and objective is equivalent fractions, and our learning target is I can represent fractions by finding equivalent fractions. And I can also compare and order fractions. We're going to split this lesson into 2 days. So we're going to do the first couple pages today and then the last page tomorrow. Alright? So when we get started, if you have filled out the topic and objective and learning target, you're ready to go. So we are going to look at representing our fractions. So this top number, the 2 in the fraction, 2/5, is telling us how many parts there are. So that number is called the numerator. I hope this is a review for us. Numerator. And then our bottom number is the number of parts in the whole. That is called your denominator. Ooh, that was a sloppy. There we go. Alright, so we have our numerator and our denominator. So I have the fraction 2/5. So how I would write that in word form is exactly how I said it. 2 with a hyphen, fifths. Alright, and then our picture has 2 pieces filled in and there's 5 pieces all together. Alright, now we're going to look at this bottom part. Now we are going to determine the amount shaded of the whole and then write our answer in fraction and word form. Okay, so let's look at the first one. I see a picture with 2 parts, and how many parts are shaded in? 1. So my top number is 1 part shaded in, my bottom number is 2 parts altogether. So my fraction is 1/2. Alright, now let's look at the second one. The second one, I have how many pieces all together? 1, 2, 3. And how many pieces shaded in? 1. So that's my fraction, 1/3. So then I write that in word form as 1/3. Alright, and our last one. Miss Fogelson is making pizza. She cuts the pizza into 6 pieces and gives 1 piece to her favorite student. Alright, so I draw my fraction bar. How many pieces did I cut the pizza into? Right, I cut it into 6. So my denominator is 6. And how many pieces am I giving away? Right, just 1. You'll have to figure out who my favorite student is and see who's getting that pizza. Just kidding, I don't have a favorite student. I like you all. So then in word form, this would be 1/6. Alright, if you have any questions about that, please let me know. We are going to move on to the next section, which is all about equivalent fractions. Okay, so let's look at the first 2 pictures. We're going to ignore the number line for a second. What fraction is this right here, the first picture? I have 1 piece filled in, and how many pieces do I have in the whole? Right, I have 4. So this is 1/4. So now what we are going to do is we are going to shade in the exact same amount in this second picture and figure out what our equivalent fraction is. So I see that it's like this bottom part right here. So I'm going to shade in those 3 pieces. So that tells me I have 3 pieces shaded over how many pieces altogether. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 3/12. Alright, so these 2 fractions are equivalent. What that means is I can simplify this fraction to get that fraction. They are equivalent. Okay? Now let's look at this next part. Now I see number lines, okay? So how I always do this is I count how many lines there are. So here's 0. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that tells me I'm splitting these into sixths. Okay, so this right here would be 1/6, and then 2/6, and then 3/6, and then 4/6, and then 5/6, and then 6/6 is really just 1, so that would be this line right here. Alright, so our fraction is at 4/6. Now we need to figure out what our equivalent fraction is. So we're going to count the number of lines we have. Here's 0. I have 1, 2, 3 lines. So that tells me I'm splitting it into thirds. This is 1/3, this is 2/3, and this right here would be 3/3, which is really just 1. Alright, so if I look up here, this point is right there, so I'm going to put it exactly where it is on this number line. So 4/6 is equivalent to 2/3. So what that means is if I simplify this fraction, the 4/6, I would get 2/3. So they are the same. Alright, let's move on. So now we are going to write and represent an equivalent fraction for each figure. So it's like pretend there's a line here. Okay? So the top part is for these pictures, the bottom part is for the number lines. So if that helps you separate it, please make sure you do that. Alright, so I have 2/3 in this picture. So now we're going to color in how many bars I need to make sure that my pictures look exactly the same. So I need to color in 4 of these, and then my shading is the same. So I colored in 4, and there were 6 parts. So 2/3 is equivalent or equal to 4/6. Means the exact same thing. Alright, now let's look at the next one. They already gave me my first fraction, which is 3/4. Now I'm going to color in the number of pieces it takes for those to look exactly the same. So I see that part is colored in, this bottom part, all the way over here. This is the only part that isn't. Alright, so how many pieces did I color in? I colored in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces. And there are 8 pieces total, so that's why I get 6/8. So 3/4 is equivalent or equal to 6/8. Alright, 2 more of the picture ones. Now we need to write our fraction. So we're going to write this fraction first. I have 2 pieces colored in. How many pieces are there all together? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces. So 2/8. Now we're going to color in how many pieces it's going to take for that to look the exact same, which is 1 piece. So I have 1 piece, and how many pieces are there all together? There is 4. So 2/8 is equivalent to 1/4. Alright, our last one with pictures. I'm going to write my first fraction. How many pieces do I have colored in? I have 4. How many pieces are there all together? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, now we're going to shade in our picture to make it look exactly the same. So I colored in 2 pieces, and there are 3 altogether. So 4/6 is equivalent to 2/3. Alright, our last section that we're going to be doing today is our number lines, okay? So they already wrote our first fraction according to the number lines. So 2/5. If you wanted, you could split it up. This is 1/5, this is 2/5, this is 3/5, 4/5, and lastly 5/5, which is just 1. So now we need to figure out, I'm going to plot this point exactly where it is on the second number line, and we need to figure out what fraction it is. So I like to count how many lines I have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm splitting my number line up into tenths. So this is 1/10, this is 2/10, and so on. So that tells me that my number, or my point, is at 4/10. Alright, our next one. They already wrote our fraction for us for the top one. This is like 1/3, this is 2/3, and then that's 3/3. So our point is at 1/3. So I'm gonna draw my point exactly where it is up above. And now I'm going to count how many lines I have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's like splitting it up into sixths. So my point is at 2/6. If you want, you can fill out the rest of the number line, but you don't really need to because we already know exactly where our point is. Alright, the last two we need to actually fill out both of the fractions. So let's look at the first one. Alright, I'm going to count how many lines I have. I have 1 line, 2 line, 3 line, 4 lines. So that tells me I'm splitting this up into fourths. So I have 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and then 1. So my first fraction is 2/4. And then I like to draw the point exactly where it is. Now we're going to count how many lines are at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I know my denominator is 8, but we need to figure out how many spaces of 8 I have. Okay, so I have 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. So this right here would be 4/8. Alright, I want you to try this last one on your own and then come back and see if you got the right answer. Alright, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So that tells me I'm splitting it up into fourths. This would be 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. Alright, now I'm going to count my bottom. Put my point exactly where it is. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I'm splitting it up into twelfths. So this is 1/12, 2/12, 3/12, 4/12, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12. Alright. Now one thing I do want to make sure you are aware of with equivalent fractions is if I look at this, I can figure it out without even using the picture. 3 times what gave me 9? Right, 3 times 3. So whatever I do to the top, I have to do to the bottom. So 4 times 3 gives me 12 as well. So that is one way you could find fractions instead of drawing pictures. Like same thing with this one. 2 times what gave me 4? 2 times 2. So I have to do the same to the bottom. 4 times 2 gives me 8. Same thing over here. 1 times 2 gives me 2. So 3 times 2 gives me 6. So I know that my fractions are right. Alright? So right now you are going to work on IXL F2. And then tomorrow we'll finish the rest of this lesson and work on the last IXL. So if you have watched to the end of this video, thank you so much for doing that. You will get 1 bonus point on any assignment that you don't have a 10 out of 10 on if you message me this word, spooky. It's almost Halloween, so it's kind of spooky out, right? So if you message me the word spooky because you watched this video all the way through, you will get 1 bonus point on any assignment that you do not have a 10 out of 10 on. If you have 10s out of 10s on all of them, then you'll get 1 free bonus point on a test that you don't have a perfect on. So please message me on Schoology if you watched the end of this video. Thank you so much for doing so.